The golden sun hung low over the African plains, painting the tall grass with streaks of fire. In the distance, a small figure trembled, almost invisible against the horizon. At first, it seemed like any ordinary day in the wild, but then a shiver ran down his spine. Something was wrong. The subtle rustling of leaves and the silent tension in the air told a story of danger he couldn't ignore. He squinted, trying to focus, and what he saw made his heart skip a beat. A young zebra, barely a few weeks old, was cornered, trapped by a circle of stalking shadows. How could such a tiny creature survive against the jaws of predators? And what could anyone possibly do in the face of nature's raw fury? The answers became clear in the next instant. Survival here demanded courage beyond imagination, and sometimes the most unexpected hero would rise. The man's eyes widened as he realized the inevitability of the encounter, yet something unusual stirred nearby, an unspoken hope that defied the danger. The tall grass swayed with whispers of the approaching threat. The lionesses, their amber eyes fixed, crept silently, muscles coiled like springs ready to strike. The man felt a cold sweat run down his back. He had seen predators before, but the precision and patience in their movements sent a chill deeper than any wind could carry. Every instinct in him screamed that the moment to act or simply watch was approaching fast. The tension wrapped around him, a tight coil of fear and anticipation. From the edge of the clearing, a low, steady sound made him pause. At first he thought it was the wind, but the rhythm grew more deliberate. Something large was moving closer, its presence undeniable. He blinked, trying to comprehend it. Was it another predator, or perhaps a guardian waiting unseen? His heart pounded as the grass parted slightly, revealing the silhouette of a massive gorilla, calm but alert, eyes scanning the danger ahead. The man couldn't believe what he was seeing. Gorillas weren't known for hunting, much less interfering with other species, yet here it was, a silent observer with a weight that seemed to command the plain itself. Could this creature possibly challenge the lionesses? And why, of all moments, would it care about a tiny zebra? The answer seemed written in the gorilla's posture, determined, unyielding, as if instinct and empathy had merged in that very instant. The lionesses crouched, tails twitching, calculating their strike with terrifying precision. The zebra, unsteady and frightened, took a cautious step backward, ears flattened. The man felt his breath hitch. He realized the fragility of life, the cruel balance of the wild, and the profound impact of a single choice made by one courageous being. One wrong movement and everything could be lost in a heartbeat. Suddenly the gorilla shifted, muscles tensing like a coiled spring ready to leap. Its eyes locked on the lionesses, and for a moment time seemed to slow. The plains were silent except for the distant calls of birds fleeing the scene. The man's mind raced. Would the gorilla succeed? Could a single guardian turn the tide of nature's brutal theater? Deep down he felt a flicker of hope, a belief that courage and heart could indeed defy instinct and odds. The sun dipped lower, shadows stretching across the plains, and the stage was set. Predators and prey were locked in a delicate dance, but now an unexpected variable had entered the equation. The man's pulse quickened as he watched the gorilla take a decisive step toward the center of the clearing. Something extraordinary was about to unfold, and he knew without a doubt that this moment would stay with him forever. The gorilla stepped forward, massive arms swinging, with quiet authority. Its chest heaved, and its eyes locked on the lionesses, who hesitated for the first time. The air seemed to thicken as the gorilla let out a deep, resonant roar, a sound that shook the grass and startled the predators. The zebra, sensing the protector, froze, watching the giant creature with wide, trusting eyes. The man's pulse raced, heart hammering as he realized the impossible was about to happen. The lionesses lunged, but the gorilla reacted with lightning speed, intercepting the attack with a powerful, calculated shove. Its muscles rippled under the tension, strength born from years surviving the wild. Each movement was precise, measured, showing intelligence as much as raw force. The gorilla didn't just fight. It strategized, using its size and position to keep the lionesses at bay while protecting the zebra. A swipe of its massive arm sent one lioness skidding backward, claws digging into the dirt. The man held his breath, unable to tear his eyes away from the unfolding struggle. Every motion of the gorilla revealed courage that seemed beyond understanding, a willingness to risk everything for a creature it had never met. It was as if instinct and morality had fused in a single, fearless guardian. The lionesses regrouped, circling with predatory precision, but the gorilla mirrored their movements, adjusting and blocking with uncanny timing. Its eyes never left the zebra, its focus absolute. The man felt a mix of awe and fear, realizing that this battle was not just strength against strength, but a contest of wits and heart. The gorilla's actions carried a silent message. Life, no matter how small, deserved protection. The ground shook under the gorilla's weight as it advanced, creating distance between the predators and the vulnerable zebra. It let out another roar, this one sharper, commanding attention. Birds took flight from nearby trees, startled by the display, adding chaos to the already tense scene. The man could barely speak, captivated by the courage radiating from the giant creature. One of the lionesses attempted a flanking maneuver, but the gorilla anticipated it, pivoting with a speed that belied its size. Its arms swung with precision, creating barriers of muscle and power that the predators couldn't penetrate. The zebra edged backward toward safer ground, guided by the gorilla's protective positioning, a silent choreography of survival and instinct. The man's mind raced, struggling to comprehend the scene. The gorilla's eyes met his briefly, almost as if acknowledging his presence, silently asking him to witness courage in its purest form. Each move, each decision revealed a creature capable of empathy and intelligence that defied the natural order. The plains were alive with tension, but the gorilla's presence shifted the balance, creating a fragile sanctuary in the middle of chaos. As the lionesses paused, assessing the gorilla's determination, the man realized that this was more than a rescue. It was a testament to bravery and strategy intertwined. The zebra, still trembling, began to step more confidently, understanding the safety offered by the gorilla's intervention. The moment stretched, electric with possibility, as the man held on to hope, knowing that the heroism unfolding before him was something he would never forget. The man's breath caught in his throat as he watched the gorilla's every movement. He had never imagined witnessing such raw courage and intelligence in the wild, and yet here it was, unfolding before him. His eyes darted between the lionesses and the massive guardian, unable to look away. Fear and awe mingled inside him, a whirlwind of emotions he struggled to contain. Every instinct screamed both to act and to stay still. He questioned himself, Should he intervene, risking both his life and the fragile balance of the scene? Or should he remain a silent witness, letting nature and the gorilla determine the outcome? The answer seemed impossible, yet as he observed the gorilla's calculated defense, clarity emerged. The man realized that some acts of heroism required human restraint as much as human action. Heart pounding, he took a cautious step forward, but the weight of the moment froze him again. The gorilla's eyes flicked in his direction, sharp and aware, yet unthreatened. It was a silent warning and an invitation all at once. He could observe, could marvel, but interference could ruin everything. His mind raced, imagining the consequences of either choice, each scenario more perilous than the last. The lionesses circled tighter, claws digging into the dirt, muscles coiled for the strike, but the gorilla mirrored every motion. The man's pulse quickened, a mix of terror and admiration burning through him. He felt the enormity of the wild pressing in, the fragile thread of life stretched taut between predator and protector. A small voice inside him urged caution. Another urged courage. He lowered himself slightly, crouching behind a clump of grass, blending into the landscape as best he could. The zebra's wide eyes reflected fear, and he understood the importance of every choice in this moment. He could neither call out nor make sudden movements, yet his presence, unseen but real, seemed to anchor him to the scene, a witness to something extraordinary. Every beat of the zebra's trembling heart, every flick of the lioness's tails, and every subtle shift of the gorilla's stance impressed itself on him. He felt gratitude for the creature's bravery, and fear for the fragile life it protected. A surge of emotions washed over him, respect, admiration, and a sharp pang of helplessness that he couldn't simply step in. The man's eyes never left the gorilla, noticing the strategic genius behind each movement. It wasn't mere strength that protected the zebra, but intelligence, timing, and empathy woven into every motion. His mind swirled with questions about instinct and morality, the blurry lines between survival and heroism, but he stayed rooted, knowing he was in the presence of something far greater than himself. Time seemed to stretch, elongated by the tension and quiet courage on the plains. The man realized he would carry this memory forever, a lesson written in action rather than words. He stayed in place, heart racing, silently acknowledging the gorilla's unwavering commitment. Every instinct in him wanted to act, yet he understood that watching, in this moment, was the bravest choice he could make. The lionesses paused, uncertainty rippling through their stance as the gorilla held its ground. A low growl rumbled from its chest, warning them that the cost of attack would be too high. Slowly, the predators began to back away, calculating the risk, realizing the gorilla's strength and determination outweighed their hunger. The zebra's trembling legs found courage in the protector nearby, inching toward safety. Then, unexpectedly, the gorilla lowered itself to the ground, sweeping one massive arm out as if inviting the young zebra to follow. Its eyes, soft and focused, guided the trembling creature toward the open plains. The man's jaw dropped, witnessing empathy and intelligence in action. This was more than strength, it was understanding, a silent promise that the zebra's life mattered. The lionesses retreated further, glances flicking between each other and the gorilla. Their initial ferocity faded, replaced by cautious respect. The plains seemed to hold their breath as predator and protector shared the space without violence. The gorilla's chest heaved, eyes never leaving the zebra, as if silently declaring, "You are safe because I chose it." The young zebra took its first bold steps, moving closer to the man's vantage point, yet staying protected by the gorilla's presence. The air shimmered with tension, yet a fragile calm settled over the clearing. The man felt tears prick his eyes, overwhelmed by the combination of courage and compassion he had just witnessed. The gorilla, unshaken by the threat, exuded a silent wisdom that left him speechless. Then the gorilla did something no one could have predicted. It reached down gently, placing a massive hand near the zebra without touching it, a gesture of connection rather than dominance. The zebra paused, sensing safety, and leaned subtly against the giant, trusting the guardian completely. The man's chest tightened as he realized the extraordinary bond forming in front of him. A final glance toward the lionesses showed them retreating into the distance, unwilling to risk confrontation. The gorilla stood tall once more, chest rising and falling, eyes scanning the surroundings. The zebra, emboldened, pranced beside its protector, a fragile life now given a chance. The man could hardly breathe, his heart caught between disbelief and awe at what had just occurred. The sun dipped lower, painting the scene with golden hues, highlighting the unexpected triumph of courage and empathy. The gorilla remained alert yet calm, a silent sentinel ensuring the zebra reached safer ground. The man felt as though he had witnessed something sacred, a moment where instinct, intelligence, and compassion had collided in perfect harmony. As the zebra disappeared into the tall grass, guided by the gorilla's watchful eye, the man exhaled, realizing the enormity of what had happened. The plains returned to their quiet rhythm, yet nothing felt ordinary again. The gorilla turned once, locking eyes with the man briefly, a wordless acknowledgment of witness and trust. He knew he had seen heroism that words could never capture. The man stood frozen, absorbing every detail of what had just unfolded. The plains returned to their quiet rhythm, but nothing felt ordinary anymore. Courage had revealed itself in the most unexpected form, a gorilla risking everything to protect a fragile life. He felt a deep sense of humility, realizing that heroism could exist beyond words, and that empathy could cross the boundaries of species. As the gorilla disappeared into the grass, the young zebra following safely, the man felt a quiet warmth in his chest. He thought about the countless moments in life where fear holds people back, preventing acts of kindness or courage. Watching the gorilla had shown him that bravery wasn't just about strength. It was about choosing to act when it mattered most. He reflected on the delicate balance of the wild, where life and death are constantly intertwined. Yet, in the midst of danger, the gorilla had chosen protection, compassion, and calculated risk. The man understood that even in a world governed by instinct, intelligence, and empathy could shine through, offering hope where despair seemed certain. The plains seemed more alive now, each rustling leaf and distant bird call carrying a new meaning. The man realized that connection could transcend species, that the smallest lives were worth defending, and that courage could inspire even the most distant observer. He had witnessed a moment where instinct and heart merged into a single, unforgettable act. He thought of how often people ignore the suffering of others, rationalizing distance or inability. The gorilla had done what humans often hesitate to do. It had acted without expectation, without hesitation, purely for the sake of life itself. The man felt challenged, as if the wild had spoken to him directly, teaching a lesson beyond the immediate moment. A quiet breeze brushed across the clearing, and the man exhaled deeply, feeling gratitude for the witness he had been. He realized that courage, empathy, and selflessness were not traits reserved for humans alone. The gorilla had embodied values that could change perspectives, that could remind anyone who witnessed it of the power of compassion in the face of fear. The man began to walk slowly back toward his camp, carrying the memory with him, a story that would forever shape the way he saw the world. He understood that life's beauty often comes in unexpected forms, that acts of bravery could appear where least expected, and that a single choice could ripple outward, changing lives forever. He closed his eyes for a moment and let the lesson settle. The greatest impact comes from standing for others, even when the odds are overwhelming. Courage, empathy, and love are not measured by size or species, but by the willingness to protect, to care, and to act. He knew he would carry that truth for the rest of his days, inspired by the silent hero who had taught him the value of life. If this incredible act of courage and compassion inspired you, don't forget to join our journey, hit subscribe, and follow our channel to witness more amazing stories from the wild.